If Israel is controlling this mock draft, all glory to Netanyahu. We're going to be looking at Charles Davis, 2026 NFL mock draft, 2.0. Ty Simpson goes third overall. Kane Sadiq nearly cracks top 10. He nearly cracks. And my timer goes off again. I don't even know. Why do I even have this on still? I can't even turn this John off. Oh my god. My fantasy baseball team just got crushed today. Julio Rodriguez struck out, I don't know, a good amount of times. Same with Gunnar Henderson. Jesus Christ. We are getting really sidetracked. We are starting off with the Vegas Raiders. They're taking Fernando Mendoza, quarterback out of Indiana University. Interesting pick. Not really at all. The interesting pick if I was lying. And he wants a starting quarterback. Tom Brady, Clint Kubiak, all those guys want a this cat right here. They want that starting quarterback, and this makes the most sense for them. And if you want a starting quarterback, you might as well get the starting quarterback. You feel it. Even the cat agrees too. She's coming here. She's up here. She's looking at Fernando Mendoza right now, and she agrees that Fernando Mendoza goes to the Raiders here because Fernando Mendoza doesn't have the biggest and best frame ever, or he has a pretty good frame, but he doesn't have like the biggest and best arm talent ever, not the best scrambling skills ever, not the fastest guy I've ever seen. Leadership's off the charts, and that's all. That's pretty solid. And his arm talent is good enough. His scrambling and outside the improvisation skills aren't that bad. So we're gonna take Fernando Mendoza here. It's a solid pick. It's the right pick. It's the most amazing pick you can do. I don't know why I'm acting like this. So we're going to go with Arva Reese to the Jets at number 2. Whoa. Crazy, I know, right? So this is interesting to talk about the Jets. Do you need an edge? I kind of just spoiled it, but he already brought it up in the thumbnail, so it doesn't really matter. Or in the title, but it doesn't really matter. But Arva Reese goes to the Jets. Fits the scheme schematically better. I've said this a million times that this fits better than Bain and Bailey because Bain and Bailey haven't had the experience Arva Reese has on the outside, on the edge, or like the system that Aaron Glenn likes to run. Bain and Bailey played primarily defensive ends. I know they have had experience at outside linebacker in previous schemes. Miami, Bain has played around 200, an estimate approximately, 200 snaps for outside linebacker in his Miami, Florida career. But he primarily plays edge. Same with David Bailey. He played at Stanford before he transferred to Texas Tech, and he did play an outside linebacker role in Stanford. But again, they haven't played it in that long. Arva Reese split most of the snaps at edge and this off-ball linebacker role, kind of this hybrid role, which makes the most sense for this team. They would probably bank on the upside too, because those guys, I like Bain a lot. I'm not super duper high on Bailey, but I like it. I like this pick. The Cardinals take Ty Simpson, quarterback out of Alabama. So there's been a lot of interesting areas. So last year he had Jackson Dart. I remember reading this. He had Jackson Dart going number 3 overall, and obviously the Giants picked him up at number 25. So I think the Cardinals are a big trade-in candidate to trade back with the team that really needs it. So, maybe the Bills, who don't need that much more, or the Seahawks can trade back in, maybe jump the Jets if they're worried that the Jets happen. They're really just trying to jump the Jets. They're because the top 25 teams are what? Patriots have a quarterback, Seahawks have a quarterback, Rams have a quarterback. Oh no, sorry. They don't. Chiefs have a quarterback. Dolphins have Malik Willis. So I don't think they're going to draft Ty Simpson. Who else? There's the Bills have Josh Allen. 49ers have Brock Purdy, and the Bears have Caleb Williams. And so I feel like the only team that could possibly take Ty Simpson is the Browns at 24, and that's going to be an interesting area to talk about. But I think Ty Simpson would make sense to be traded up, kind of similar to Jackson Dart, where he got traded up 25. Those guys, there's teams that were concerned that he was picking him, like Steelers last year were concerned that they were going to pick Jackson Dart. Was that the right decision to pass on him? We don't know. Jackson Dart was really good his first year. Let's see how well he goes the next couple years of his career. But we're getting really sidetracked. We're getting Ty Simpson. I think this is a reach at number 3. I think they need more. Now it makes the most sense here. Or even an actual shot like Bailey here better than Bain. So it seems a little bit better to go for someone else in the trenches than reaching on Ty Simpson here. I'm not a gigantic fan of this. I think it's definitely plausible. It is plausible, but I think it'll be similar to Jackson Dart last year, where people will be like, okay, let's see how he does, and we'll probably trade up in the first round to get him, or we'll just take him the very, very first pick, very second pick in the second overall, second round of the draft. Titans take David Bailey, edge out of Texas Tech. This is an interesting area because this team needs an edge rusher too. I know they just sign Jermaine Johnson. There was a bunch of areas they could do, and I don't hate the fact that you're taking David Bailey here. I think Jeremiah Love would be a little bit better, but I don't hate David Bailey here. He does have a problem with his with a little bit of his like strength, his marginal strength. That's my biggest issue with him. His strength is a little weird. I there's like consistent plays on tape where he does really good, and there's consistent plays on tape where like on strength wise he's really, it gets a little iffy, and that's gonna be an issue later down the line. So if you develop that way, and he is a redshirt senior, so if you start developing that now instead of building these bad habits, it's not a bad idea to take the chance on him. So I don't hate it. The Giants take Jeremiah Love. Not a bad. I don't know. I've just never seen this pick. I know they have had like links to free agencies and try to obviously with K9 and Travis Achan, but I don't know. I feel like Jeremiah Love is too much of a luxurious pick for what this team needs, which is defensive back or tackle. They have it long term, not long term, but they have it for the next couple years with Jermaine Illuminor, who's will be solid, and obviously Andrew Thomas, who's a top 5 left tackle in the league. Don't argue with that. Argue with the wall. And I know people have been mocking Jeremiah Love, but I'm not a huge fan of this. I really am not, because you already have 2 running backs. I think you can get more depth down in the running back position later on in the draft, or just in free agency next year. I feel like we ride out with Tracy, who has had a good year. Ride out with Scat, who is coming off an injury, but I think you can split those 2 carries. I don't think Scat will have the workload that he did last year. I think you should split up with Tracy, because Tracy wasn't a bad back the year before. It really wasn't. He was one of the bright spot of that team. There was Neighbors and Tracy, both combined for both of them had 1,000 yards in scrimmage. Like, I don't know why you're trying to just abandon Tracy and put him in third in the depth chart when he's already not that bad. Like, I feel like people are forgetting about that, and I don't think Jeremiah Love is worth the pick. I like Jeremiah Love, but for this team needs, which is defensive back, wide receiver, there's better options you can go here, and I'd rather take a shot on Carlton Tate than I would Jeremiah Love, and not a team need. It's really not a big team need. I know Jeremiah Love is an upgrade over Scatterboot and Tracy, but it's like, is he as much of an upgrade as Darius Slayton as wide receiver too? Like, no. Like, if you're a Giants fan, you know the pain of Darius Slayton, how he just keeps on dropping these balls. That's a gigantic issue. Darius Slayton is not a reliable wide receiver. He's a cut candidate this year. They couldn't cut him because Joe Schoen is a fucking dumbass and paid him the same amount of money he would have paid Saquon Barkley. Like, that's a big issue. That's a real big issue. The contracts are not great on this team. I don't, a little mini Giants rant, but like, come on, like, I feel like I like someone else better here. They need more team needs. It's not a great pick. You know what, Sonny Styles too. I totally forgot about Sonny Styles. I mean, Jesus Christ, it's bad. The Browns take Carlton Tate, wide receiver, Ohio State. Keep him in state. Not a bad idea. They get their right running guru there. Will be awesome. I think this team could maybe use another upgrade later down the draft board, or even next year with a better wide receiver class. Mario Craver, Wesco, Jeremiah Smith. All those guys, Cam Coleman. How can I forget Cam Coleman? Not a bad idea. Maybe they pair up Jeremiah Smith and Carlton Tate again. I've seen people maybe project that. Not a bad idea to do that. I like this pick a lot. They need a wide receiver here. I think Jeremiah Love can be a good 1,000-yard receiver and a good complement to whatever receiver is next to him too. It's a solid pick, and I think people are overhating Carlton Tate, especially with his 40-yard time. That doesn't really. That's not his game. He didn't run. He didn't like. He wasn't known for his elite speed. He really isn't. He's known for his route running. He's known for his footwork and his placement. His separation's okay. His catch point's really good. He has great home run threat ability. It's awesome. It's an awesome pick for this team. I would take a shot on Carlton Tate, pick 6. The Commanders take Sonny Styles, linebacker out of Ohio State. Awesome. Bobby Wagner is gone, and I don't think he's going to come back. I don't think they're going to resign him. So if we take Sonny Styles here, who has been awesome in the run game, and then he has safety experience to play him as a upside in the passing game, not a bad option for this team. It really isn't. It's a solid option. This team needs linebacker. And keep on building this team. I think wide receiver is a dark horse pick for this team, because other than Terry McLaurin, who do they have on this team? Deebo Samuel is a free agent. I think you can maybe try to trade or sign maybe like someone like Tyreek Hill, or trade for Brandon Ayuk, who reunite the Arizona State guys and Jane Daniels and Ayuk. So not a bad idea to do that, but I think Sonny Styles is not a bad option. I'm not going to shame the team for taking Sonny Styles because I love him as a prospect. Saints take Jordan Tyson, wide receiver out of Arizona State. Not a bad idea. I think Chuck, you need to maximize his cheap contract. He's not the youngest, but he is on a cheap rookie deal. So I think giving him the most weapons around him is not a bad idea, and kind of maximize that window. Kind of weak division. I've been kind of going with that too. I think if Downs is available, you should definitely give Downs a consideration with his with Brandon Staley's adjacentness with Derwin James. You can use him to that similar area. So it's not a bad idea to take Derwin James, to take Caleb Downs here, but I think Jordan Tyson is not a bad option. This team does need another good wide receiver. I like Olave, but he has had injury concerns. That's the main problem with Jordan Tyson going to the Saints, is because if Olave gets injured, then Jordan Tyson gets injured. You're stuck with like 2 mediocre wide receivers. if those two are on the field, that's awesome. It's an awesome pairing because I think Jordan Tyson has wide receiver 1 capabilities. Just again, the injuries that have me dropping him out of the top 10. But if you keep on developing him and eventually those injury histories go away and those lingering injuries aren't that much of an issue, it's not a bad option to take the team. The problem is you don't know what will happen with these injuries, and only real doctors know. So interesting area to talk about, but it's not a bad option. The Chiefs take Ruben Bain, edge out of Miami. Not a bad idea either. This is definitely a Spags type pick. I think he would like this type of pick too, seeing Brian Brissy. Not a bad idea to take him. Ruben Bain had his pro day recently. Not bad. People are comparing him and Arbor Reese's band. Guys, if you're comparing Arbor Reese, a linebacker who played 51% of his snaps off ball, you are stupid. You are dead ass stupid. Why are you comparing Bain and Reese? They're two separate positions. Like one half separate position. Bain obviously is going to have better bend, which was a real concern with me. Now that's kind of alleviating my fears. I mean, I'm not super like out of the woods yet, but like it's making me feel a little better. That's why I like Bain. The only problem is his arm. Other than that, it was his like marginal bend at sometimes and his ankle mobility that really alleviated my fears after the pro day. And now it's his arm length, which is fine. Like I would ignore that red flag and just go for it. Like, I actually love Bain. He's a top 5 player for me in this class. I love Bain. I've been loving Bain since October. It's been awesome since I started this YouTube channel. It's been awesome, man. It's really been awesome. I love it. They get their edge of the future. I'd rather them take Bain than Delaney here. And I love Delaney too. I have him also as a top 5 player. But again, I like Bain here a lot. So we're going to go Ruben Bain here, not a bad idea. The Bengals take Caleb Downs, safety out of Ohio State. Keep him in state again. Downs will be a great center field piece for this team. It's honestly just an easy pick for this team. I like it a lot. It makes a lot of sense. Don't overthink it. I know they signed Brian Cook, but this team needs secondary too. I think Delaney's also in play too. Maybe get a secondary here. Dax Hill. And Delaney won't be a bad safety pairing, but Caleb Downs and Brian Cook is not a bad safety pairing either. So I don't hate this pick at all for them as well. The Dolphins take Kenyon Sadiq, tight end out of Oregon. Not a bad idea to take either. I think this team could use another weapon. Maybe you take another wide receiver here. I think my perfect pick for Jordan Tyson is the Dolphins, but again, he goes at number 8 overall here, so you're not gonna see him fall here. But I think Kenyon Sadiq is not a bad option for this team. You could use someone like Kenyon who's gonna be a mismatch outside, so it's not a bad idea. He isn't just a typical like regular blocking talent, like someone like he can go out. He's not a blocking talent. He's more of a receiving threat, and there is effort for blocking, which I like about him. There's a lot of effort. If you watch his tape, he actually tries to block. The problem is his technique, which you can refine. As long as there's a will, there's a way. So I like this pick a lot for them. You can use him as a home run threat ability, run it fast, 40 time. He has breakaway speed. I've been knowing this. He has great hands. I don't think people are really going to be concerned with how well Kenyon Sadiq does. I think I just like other tighter prospects more, but again, other tighter prospects are already in the league. So, it's not a bad idea to take him. Cowboys take Mansour Lane, quarterback out of LSU. Jerry Jones said if Mansour falls here, they should take him. Or there's like links and like there's insider information about that. Not a bad option. I mean, I won't shame a team for taking Mansour Lane, who's a top 5 player in my class, big board in my class. I like it a lot. I think Mansour would be amazing for this team. I really do. I like Mansour a lot. A little bit of a smaller guy, but again, he's just so good on coverage. He was an awesome pick. I didn't hate him at Virginia Tech. I loved him at LSU. Awesome. He only allowed 15 catches at LSU. Not a bad option. I really do enjoy this pick. The Rams take Francis Manoa, offensive tackle out of Miami. Not a bad idea either. This team needs another offensive tackle after having Stein retired. Not a bad idea to take the offensive tackle in the future. And people are concerned with Manoa if his lateral quickness gets him. I'm not really that concerned about that. I think I like his strength a lot more than I do his quickness. I mean, that's the whole reason why I take him. His strength is crazy. His tape is good. I like the strength a lot. He's, I think, a top or maybe top 15, top 10 player for me. I like it a lot too. I think Francis can be awesome against some of these stronger guys and quicker guys and just move him off the balance. It's awesome. He had great tape against Kyle Lewis too. Again, it's not a bad fit for this team. I like it a lot. The offensive tackle. I think I can definitely see them going here. Ravens take Spencer Fano, offensive lineman out of Utah. He's definitely going to be a swing tackle. Declan Doyle likes using these swing tackle type roles. Not a bad idea too. I think Spencer Fano can be interesting area for this team. It makes a lot of sense for this team. I mean, him going to the Ravens is like my perfect fit for him because again, Declan Doyle schematic fit, and he also didn't test that well for his combine measurements. He did have a better pro day. I think he tested his arm length a little bit better, but regardless, I think I have him more as a guard. His strength is amazing. His quickness also isn't that bad either. So people have Maui over Fano. People have Fano over Maui. It's just preference. I prefer Maui a little bit more, but I like Fano a lot too. But if you want to tackle, you want Maui. If you want to guard, I'm taking Fano, right? So I like it a lot too. The swing tackle role, you can literally do whatever you ask. Literally, whatever Fano is asked to play, he will play. So I think this team could use it a lot. Bucks take Akeem Esther edge out of Miami. I don't hate this pick at all either. I've been mocking this too. I don't love it, like, in the terms of the organization perspective, but, like, who else do you take here? This team needs more. This team needs a guard, too. I think Vegaione is 100% in play, but I think taking Akeem Esther is not a bad pick regardless, because you need edge rushing ability. This team has not had a great edge rusher in a hot minute. I think I like Akeem Esther here, too. And he can get to the quarterback. This seems like kind of like a Tampa Bay Buccaneers type pick. I would prefer this in Keldrick Folk because Todd Bowles, again, is on the hot seat. You want a instant impact rusher for a division that's getting sneakily good, and you want to make some noise in the playoffs, because if you don't, and if you just blow it up this year and start off like 3-7 or 3-8, like your Todd Bowles is going to be fired and you're done. So instead of taking a development project like Keldrick Folk, you get Akeem Esther, who provides instant impact, and try to win now. And that's what you need for this team in this regime. So this regime, the general manager, is all going to get it's going to go all in, I think, this year, so it's not a bad idea to take him. I know they did lose Mike Evans, but I think Akeem Esther makes sense here for instant pass rushing production. Jets take Jamal McCoy, cornerback out of Tennessee. Not a bad idea to take him here as well. I like Jamal McCoy a lot. I think he will be awesome. His problem is how well do you think and how well his athleticism will come back. But teams take a chance on someone like Jamal McCoy, because if they see production before, they like it a lot. And Jamal McCoy has had production. He was the best corner in college football before he tore his ACL. It's not a bad option to take the chance. I like it a lot here too. I think Jamal McCoy is not a bad pick. He is a little bit better in some of these press coverage. I like his physicality. I like his instincts too. His instincts aren't that bad. I like it a lot. I think this team could use a number cornerback one after Sauce Gardner got traded away. Sauce Gardner is gone. So you go Jamal McCoy. Not a bad option for this team. I think Jamal McCoy makes a lot of sense here. And if people are concerned, I think ACL injuries aren't as bad as people anticipate anymore, because, again, modern technology, modern medicine, not as bad as before. If you take Jamal McCoy, maybe you develop him. It's just the only problem is, yes, I know he will be a starting corner, or maybe like a corner in the NFL. The problem is, how bad will the drop off be if there is any drop off, and that's a big issue. That's the only real concern. That's the only concern. Is the drop off bad enough to the point where, like, okay, maybe he's not as good as he was, which he relied a lot on his speed and his ability to track the ball. Obviously, the ability to track the ball is still going to be there because he didn't break his neck, but like his speed and his get off, which was like really good, is a little bit in jeopardy after this ACL, because some of these guys don't come back as well. Not all of them, but some of them don't come back as well, and that's a big issue. So Jamal McCoy has a gigantic asterisk in my draft board, but he is a really good, solid prospect, so I don't hate it at all. The Detroit Lions take Caden Proctor, offensive tackle out of Alabama. Makes a lot of sense too. They need a left tackle. They've been linked to talking to Caden Proctor at the Shrine Bowl. It's not a bad idea to take him here. I think Proctor needs a little bit more refinement for his technique, and his footwork gets a little bit iffy, but his strength and his frame is so great, you can't teach that shit. So if we take Caden Proctor here, it's not a bad idea to do that. So this team, again, needs a left tackle, and he's one of the true left tackles. It's who's left tackles? It's Caden Proctor, Caleb Lomu, in the first roundish, Caleb Lomu. There's one more, Blake Miller, and those guys are big left tackles. So it's the problem is pick your litter of who you like the most. And Marvin Freeling, I think Marvin Freeling's on the board. Maybe you go Marvin Freeling more, but I think Caden Proctor, you're gonna bank on the upside. It's not a bad idea to take him, but I think Marvin Freeling might fit that mold a little bit better. But I think I don't dislike the option of I don't dislike the option of Caden Proctor, because you get the upside and the potential of hitting big with a guy with crazy good frame. So it's not a bad idea. The Vikings take Dylan Thielen. It's not a bad idea either. Dylan Thielen looks similar to Harrison Smith, the white safety, hitting guy. I watched his tape. I love his tape. Purdue, especially his turnover ability, was so good. I love watching safeties like that who can draw the ball loose. And one of my favorite reps was him in Oregon, or in maybe it was Purdue, where it was a Nebraska running back, and he just jarred the ball loose. And that's what I want for my safety. He just grabs it and grips it. That's one of the best things too. Him and Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, not bad at hitting and getting the ball loose. I like that for my safety. You want good turnover ability. The only thing who brings good straight line speed to the area, can thump it, can honestly play pretty good. He's in the right place at the right time. Seems like in some of his film watch parties. It's not a bad idea to take him here. It really is. And this team needs a safety for the long haul. So if we take Dylan Thiemann here, not a bad idea to invest in the secondary. Panthers take Mekhi Lemon, wide receiver out of USC. Not a bad idea either. This team can use him in the slot and have Coker McMillan on the outside. You have your big dominant threat and Tedrick McMillan on the outside. Bryce Young honestly performs better with some of these better weapons. I know obviously all quarterbacks perform better with better weapons, but Bryce Young especially, because if you are what you build around him, and I don't think Bryce Young, I've said this a million times, I don't think Bryce Young is the type of quarterback to elevate the people around him. I think he needs a good supporting cast, but he's not like, I don't think he's like a game manager like Jimmy Garoppolo, right, where he's like a fringe starting quarterback slash above average slash elite backup quarterback. I think he's more of a guy who's an average starter to above average starter that does better and produces way more, like a more noticeably amount of more with better weapons. And I think if you get more weapons around Mekhi Lemon, it makes a lot more sense. That's why I prefer Tannen Sadiq over some of these safeties and defensive backs, because I know those are very valuable positions over tight end, but at the same time, you don't see people like Tannen Sadiq go to hit the market much, and you have to drag these type of tight ends. And also, just schematically, it fits better for this team because they don't have a very competitive tight end room, and Bryce Young does better with some of these better weapons. So I think I like those type of weapon picks for Bryce Young a little bit more. I think you afford the luxury, and I think that it had a very smart idea. Maybe it was an overpay for Jalen Phillips, but you don't have to draft an edge here because people were mocking edge here before, and even a linebacker either because you did lose Rosenboom, but you also signed Devin Lloyd on a very cheapish deal. Like it was like 3 years, like $30 million. I think it's not a bad idea because that's a relatively cheap deal for a linebacker like that. I like it a lot. I think they have the luxury to take a weapon here. It's not a bad idea to invest in that future. Cowboys takes linebacker C.J. Allen. He had a terrible pro day, and that's really having me falling. He looked slow. He literally reinforced all the problems and thoughts I had with him as coming out as a prospect, which is how well is he going to move across some of this. And his pro day, he looked slow. He didn't look like he was moving. His head ability was not looking good. Like he wasn't turning well. He would look small, and that was my whole problem with him during the draft process. Was I was like, okay, like how good is he like against some of these smaller guys and like moving and covering, and that was a big issue, and that's why I didn't have him consistently going in the top 20 because I was concerned of how well he was actually going to do. That's why if he was a little bit better prospect, I would have gone number 15 because his team just had Levante David retire, but the linebacker class is so deep that maybe you pass on C.J. Allen and get someone better for better value and less drop off, or more drop off. So C.J. Allen is a kind of a reach in my opinion. I think I would prefer something else here. Who did they take in the start? They took Mansour, so it's not a bad idea to take Mansour there, but maybe we take something else. Maybe you take safety here. Maybe you take Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. It's not a bad option to do that. So I don't think I like C.J. Allen a lot anymore either because, again, his movement skills really concern me during his pro day. So I'm kind of selling low on C.J. Allen. Steelers take Omar Cooper Jr., wide receiver out of Indiana. I like Omar Cooper Jr. a lot too. I think Omar Cooper Jr. would be awesome for this team. This team had a lack of weapons too. I think they're going to try to double down on the weapons this year. Obviously, training for Michael Pittman Jr., but also I think Omar Cooper Jr. to play that slot role, who has great contact balance, who has pretty good hands, who has performed in clutch positions, who knows just how to play in different areas, who's very versatile. Great contact balance, can really get through the tackles if you need him to. Like he's solid, and this team can have a good contrast to DK Metcalf. That's why I don't mock Denzel Boston anymore, because again, he's similar to DK Metcalf and kind of similar to Michael Pittman Jr., right? You want somebody different. You want someone who can fit that role, and you also lost Calvin Austin, who's another slot guy. So do you want to get like a lower tier slot and person or double down on the weapons? It's not a bad idea. And then you also signed Rico Dowdle, so I don't think the running back position is worth reaching on Jadarian Price. So I like this pick a lot for them. It makes a lot of sense for them, and they need a wide receiver. I've consistently mocked Omar Cooper Jr. here. It's not a bad idea to take him here. The Chargers take Vega Ione, guard out of Penn State. I love Vega Ione. I think he'll be awesome. His strength is crazy good for his like tape. I remember watching his tape. He just puts people into the ground, and that's what I want. He's not very flexible. He's not very fast, but he can really put your ass through the door, and he plays with ferociousness, and that's what I want my guard to play like. So I like Vega Ione here. This team has a glaring hole guard as well. I know they did sign some guards, but I'm not a gigantic fan of where this guard room is headed, so I'm gonna go Vega Ione here. Not a bad idea. The Eagles take Marlon Fling off tackle out of Georgia. Not a bad idea. Lynn Johnson's heading to his area of retirement, so it's not a bad idea to invest long term into the left tackle position. It's not a bad idea either because Modern Feeling has prototypical frame for the tackle area. Not a bad option. I have Modern Feeling as my tackle number 2 because I think I like him a lot more than some of these other guys. There's a little less concerns for me, but I like it a lot here. This team could use a tackle like Monroe. The Browns take Caleb Bloom, sophomore out of Utah. It's not a bad idea either. And this, again, another left tackle. Two back-to-back left tackles go, and Kane Proctor has gone before, so not a bad option to take Caleb Bloom here, who does have great strength. A little bit more of a developmental piece, but if you use his strength well and eventually develop him, I think he can be an awesome player in the NFL. So it's not a bad option to play him. I know you just got Tyus Howard. He's a right tackle, so you take Caleb Bloom, put him in left tackle, slot him in. Not a bad option. The Bears take Peter Woods, defensive tackle out of Clemson. Again, not a bad option to take Peter Woods here. I think this makes a lot of sense for this team schematically as well. You need defensive tackle. Peter Woods also has played like similar edge roles, obviously with stunts, but also just sometimes he just lines up on the outside if you need him to. Not all the time, not often, but sometimes he did. And people sometimes, on some mock drafts, had him listed at edge, which I made no sense. He's more of a defensive tackle. But he also has crazy good strength. His strength is crazy. If you watch his film, he flattens people. He really does flatten people, and I like Peter Woods. Top 10 player in my class. Big board, sorry, top 10 player in this class. Really good. I think people are kind of overrated because I've seen people mock him in the second round, and I'm like, dude, it's crazy. I've never really got the Peter Woods hate because he's just so solid. He really is. And I think it's just the game planning around college teams have game plan around Peter Woods and TJ Parker as well. It's not a bad option. This team does need a defensive tackle. Maybe Warren would be a little bit better. I think that safety room needs a little bit more. Even with Kobe Bryant, I still want a little bit more. I'm not a gigantic hater of Peter Woods, though, because again, he did need run stopping ability, and they were getting ran upon many times in this season. So taking Peter Woods is not a bad idea. Bills take Kojic Folk, edge out of Auburn. Yeah, people had wide receiver going a lot here, but now that they got DJ Moore, it's not a big need, and wide receiver class is very deep in this class, and we can get someone else later. Kojic Folk is not a bad option, though. Kojic Folk is a little bit more developmental piece on the pass rushing side, but on the run stopping side, he's awesome. He has great strength. He can play through the ball. Awesome pick for this team that needs a true edge for the future, and he's young, too, so you can develop him into a stud. And if you eventually hit on that pick, he's going to be a solid pick. Really high defensive edge rushing floor, but also has the tremendous upside of getting a pass rusher. And he had 8 sacks as a freshman in SEC play. You don't usually see that happening. I think people are kind of overrating his area. If you're saying he's not a first round pick, you're lying. He's young. He's good. He has a high floor. I think his run stopping ability gets him the first round as well, because his team lacks run stopping. This class lacks run stopping. True 3 down lineman areas. There's a lot of DPRs. Cassius Howell, Armason Thomas, Romello Height, Armason Thomas, Joseph. Again, there's a lot of DPRs, good pass rushers, but there's not a lot of good run stoppers, and you're worried about that, right? I think the 3 most refined run stoppers right now are Kojic Folk, I think Derek Moore, and Malachi Lawrence and Ruben Mid. Those are, and we'll throw in TJ Parker. Five guys, right, of the edges. And I think Kojic Folk is probably one of the better run stoppers in this class, other than maybe Bain, right? So it's an awesome pick for this team. I like it a lot. This team needs an edge too. The edge room was not great last year, so an edge is a pretty big position in football. So teams spend a lot and invest a lot into that area. So if you take a developmental piece and you develop him into a great run stopper with great size and a solid upside, it's not a bad option to invest in that area. The 49ers take Blake Miller, offensive tackle out of Clemson. Another left tackle going to take over for Trent Williams. Not a bad option. I'm not a gigantic fan of taking Blake Miller in the first round. I mean, the best landing spot for him too is the 49ers. Maybe you develop his game a little bit more, but there's lapses in his game. There's just some games where he just gets cooked, and that's a real issue. But especially for how battle tested he is, I would like a little bit more experience, a little more closure. And he's not tremendous at anything. The difference between Blake Miller and Caden Proctor is that Blake Miller sometimes gets blown up, sometimes so does Caden Proctor. But the difference with Caden Proctor is that his size is so much better, his arm length is so much better, and I just feel more confident in him actually developing into a better player. Versus Blake Miller, who I feel like he's going to be an average starter in the NFL at his ceiling, or maybe a little bit below his ceiling, right? That's gonna be a real issue, and that's a concern of mine. And it's a valid concern, it really is. So I'm not sure how good he's gonna get, but as a pure starter right now, he's not bad. And can you go to an offensive tackle on your team? In this case, this really is an offensive tackle needed, but it's building for the future, so it's not a bad option. But maybe you halt a little bit. Not a bad option though. Texas State, Caden McDonald, defensive tackle out of Ohio State. Put that nose tackle aspect. This team does need a defensive tackle area after signing some of these guard areas, so I don't think you should really worry about reaching on a guard here. I like Caden McDonald here. Not a bad option. This team could use a guard here, or sorry, a defensive tackle here. Young guy, not bad. Really good in between the blocks. Can get to the running back if you needed to. A little bit more concerned with his pass rushing upside, but I think this team already has enough pass rushing that even if Caden McDonald is still out on the field, he can maybe get to the quarterback with how good those other two guys are on the edge. Not a bad option for this team. The Chiefs take Colton Hood, corner out of Tennessee. Not a bad option either. Colton is not bad. It's not a bad pick. It really isn't. He's a solid cornerback too. He will be awesome next to another corner. But in this case, the Chiefs do not draft corner, so maybe he's the cornerback one. Again, just a solid option. Really is just a solid option. It makes a lot of sense. I think they just need corner. They really do. They lost 2 of their corners to the Rams. Just need another corner. Not a bad option. Dolphins take Emmanuel Warren, safety out of Toledo. Not bad either. Minka Fitzpatrick's gone. They got their guy here, and he is a ball hawk too. But he also just can hit too. I know I bring this up a lot, but he said he was gonna run over or like hit the fuck out of Derrick Henry, and that's what I want for my safety. He seems like he just likes football, and that's what I want for my team, for my player. After the top 3 safeties, the drop off was pretty big, so I would like Emmanuel Warren to go here. Not a bad option. You see teams reach for big drop offs, right? After Emmanuel Warren, Dylan Thiemann, and Caleb Downs, the best are Kamari Ramsey, AJ Halsey, and Genesis Smith. Genesis Smith is a terrible tackler. AJ Halsey has lapses in some of his coverage, and I'm not very sold on Kamari Ramsey. So I think taking Emmanuel Warren is not a bad option here for this team, especially after losing Minka Fitzpatrick, and how detrimental the safety group is there for this team too, and the ties that Jeff Hafley has towards like Xavier McKinney, and also just being a defensive backs coach and having defensive backs experience in the past. Not a bad option. Patriots take Maxine Archer, offensive tackle out of Arizona State. Again, another developmental piece for this team. He doesn't need to start immediately. We probably sit behind Morgan Moses. Learn from Morgan Moses. Learn from Will Campbell. Not a bad option. He's a physical beast, big behemoth, offensive tackle guy. He hasn't played a lot in his collegiate career or even just his football career. But again, he's a solid pick, and I think people won't. I think people will take the upside. He's a big behemoth. He has unreal strength. Not a bad option for this team. Building for the future. Not a bad option. Wouldn't hate this pick a lot. Seahawks take Avon Terrell, corner out of Clemson. I mean, the thing with Avon Terrell is that, like, I don't really hate much of his game other than his size, and sometimes he undercuts the ball and is a little bit too aggressive. But I would rather you be aggressive and then be safe and then giving up a touchdown than be aggressive and giving up a touchdown. He's awesome. He's going to be a good contrast to not really a contrast, but a good complement to Devon Witherspoon. You have 2 feisty corners in there, and they can use him on the inside or the outside. I think I have him more as a outside corner. I think people might disagree. That's your choice if you do. I like him more as an outside corner. His ability to undercut the ball too is awesome. His speed is really good. His hitting is really good. Everything about him is really good besides his size, and maybe sometimes he just overcuts the ball, which is a problem. But I think I have him as my cornerback number 2. Maybe 3 behind McCoy, but Dylan's my number 1. Terrell and McCoy are my 2/3. So it's not a bad option to take your boy here. Not a terrible option. But that's it. Thank you all for watching. Let me know what you guys think of this mock draft. Interesting area. Other than really Ty Simpson going here, it was a pretty standard mock draft. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.